You ever come home early thinking you'll finally get a break just to step right into a scene that feels straight out of a bad TV movie? Yeah, that happened. The second I reached my front door, key barely in the lock, I heard these piercing screams echoing from inside my own house. At first I thought maybe Emma had hurt herself, or there was a break-in. But no, it was Karen, the HOA president, losing her mind and shrieking at some poor 911 dispatcher about a dangerous man breaking into her house. Her house, the shock. According to official paperwork, the house wasn't even mine anymore. Karen had somehow got it switched into her name illegally, and now she was holding court like some kind of property queen while I stood on my own damn porch with a key and nowhere to go. You want to talk about feeling powerless? Let me take you back to where this all started. 3 days before Christmas, I was supposed to be at a business retreat in Denver, but I cut it short. Figured I'd surprise my daughter Emma with the bike she'd been dreaming about, make her Tuesday evening magical. There I was rolling up to 1247 Meadowbrook Drive, the lights of the neighborhood twinkling the air, sharp and cold, just the way December in Austin gets right before a front comes through. I had my keys out, this little grin on my face, ready to catch her look of surprise. But instead, I hear noise, loud, artificial, like someone was doing a home shopping network segment from my living room. I peeked in the window, and sure enough, there's bright lighting set up, someone walking around giving a grand tour of the kitchen. It wasn't Emma she was supposed to be at aftercare. No, it was Karen decked out in a red blazer ring light and iPad in hand, narrating to an online audience like she was about to sell the place on TV. The second she saw me, the switch flipped. She went from welcome to my home to help. I'm being attacked faster than you can say HOA violation. She started screaming at her iPad, telling viewers that I was the crazy ex-owner broadcasting live to Facebook and TikTok, whipping up the drama warning everyone that I'd been sending her threats. I'm standing there holding my own keys, staring past her at my coffee mug still on the kitchen counter. Emma's homework exactly where she left it 3 days ago. The same old holiday mess Emma and I always made together after Linda passed. And there's Karen spinning stories while her audience eggs her on, call the police, get to a safe room. This man looks dangerous. I could hear sirens closing in. She really did it. She called the cops on me for being at my own house. Officer Martinez shows up calm as can be, but even he's thrown off. Karen, in full performance mode, hands him official paperwork showing she's the new owner, signed and stamped with all the right seals. Except none of it was real. I hadn't signed anything, hadn't sold my home, hell, I hadn't even listed it. But the documents looked legitimate enough to buy her time. As I tried to explain, my wallet was at the airport with my rental car. There I was standing outside in December trying to convince the police I was the real owner, watching my life get broadcast as reality TV for Karen's followers. She tried to get me to walk away, offering not to press charges this time if I'd admit it was a misunderstanding. She played magnanimous for her audience, but everyone ate it up like she was a saint. Meanwhile, I was left scrambling for a place to sleep. My neighbor James, bless him, offered up his couch. So instead of tucking Emma into bed that night, I was in someone else's living room trying to piece together how a woman I'd known for 5 years as an HOA pest had just pulled off a heist on my whole life. That's when the real twist started. My Google Drive pinged with a backup log at 3:47 a.m., 3 days prior. Not only had someone been trying to access my files, but Emma had let it slip earlier about a nice lady who helped take insurance photos. Turns out Karen had been casing my house for months, making herself useful, snapping photos for paperwork, and getting Emma to give her access to a lockbox when I was away. She didn't just steal my home. She'd studied every angle, forged every document, and orchestrated a full-scale operation. The digital trail was everywhere: failed logins, IP addresses around Austin, and then, thanks to Emma's innocent trust, access to every document Karen needed to build her case. She'd even gone through family records, marriage licenses, Linda's death certificate, stuff that hit way too close to home. This wasn't about a house. This was about destroying what little peace we had left. That's when Grace Park, a neighbor I barely knew, knocked on James's door. Turns out she works at IBM and had noticed strange network traffic. Someone probing Wi-Fi networks in our neighborhood targeting people who traveled single parents' widows. Her router logs match what I was seeing. Someone had been mapping our routines, learning when we were vulnerable. 4 other houses, all single-parent families, had been hit by similar scams. We weren't the first and probably wouldn't be the last. Suddenly, this wasn't just a one-woman show. Karen had helped real pros who knew their way around social engineering and cybercrime. That same morning, I got an email. Stop digging, or Emma pays the price. Attached a photo of Emma walking to school. That's the kind of thing that makes you physically sick, you know? There I was, stuck between fighting for my home and protecting my daughter, knowing every move was being watched. Grace called in a favor with a private investigator, Mike Chen, who'd tracked similar operations across the Southwest. The files he dug up made my blood run cold. Karen and her Project Inheritance crew had targeted families like mine for years, especially those going through loss with medical bills, widowed and vulnerable. There were scripts, psychological profiles, tech guides, even AI-powered deepfake videos of notaries authenticating property transfers. I found out Emma and I were package 7 on a hit list, literally a business plan for profiting off grief. The twist: Karen's own son, Tyler, reached out anonymously, leaking evidence he'd pulled off her backup drive. He showed how Karen was handpicked for this operation because of her own twisted history. Turns out she'd had a grudge against my late wife, Linda, since college. She'd been obsessed for 20 years, and after Linda passed, Karen saw her shot at revenge and easy money. The psychological evaluation included in Tyler's leak said it all: she was ideal for manipulating families in crisis. We gathered everything: deepfake forensics logs, Tyler's testimony, and prepped for the emergency HOA meeting Karen had called to resolve the dispute. But Tyler warned us it was a trap. They planned to make me look unstable so no one would believe my story. That night, the community center was packed the air thick with suspicion. Karen ran her own live stream painting me as a violent stalker. But this time I was ready. Grace ran the deepfake detector live for everyone to see. Sarah the blogger recorded everything, and Tyler handed over physical proof of the conspiracy. Karen crumbled when Tyler stood up and laid bare everything: her obsession, the fraud, the abuse. You could hear the shift in the room as people realized they'd been played. Then the FBI walked in, badges out, and put Karen in cuffs. Her final live stream showing her being hauled away, still protesting her innocence. Suddenly, neighbors who'd been ready to boot me out were apologizing, offering help, welcoming us back. The HOA officially reinstated me as owner. The feds cracked down on the wider network, and Karen's guilty plea helped them arrest a dozen more across the country. Tyler, brave as ever, was placed with us, found some peace, and started building his own life. Emma recovered, our neighborhood came together, and I even ended up dating Grace. Funny how disaster forges real connection, right? But the story didn't end there. Months later, just as life was getting normal, I got a message: Karen was just middle management. The real network starts now. Watch your back. New families in Seattle had already been hit, the scam evolving, and the fight wasn't over. As I looked around my living room, Emma and Tyler laughing, Grace making breakfast, I realized this story wasn't about a house or even just crime. It was about what happens when ordinary people refuse to stay silent. When you use your skills, speak up, and watch out for each other, yeah, you can beat back the darkness. So let me ask you, if this happened in your community, would you see the warning signs? Would you speak up or look away? Drop a comment, share your story, and let's talk about what real justice looks like. Because the truth is, these battles are only won when folks like us decide enough is enough. If you want more stories that actually teach you how to fight back and win, subscribe, hit like, and help us make sure nobody faces this kind of nightmare alone.